Welcome to the best show about love and relationships. Become a free member on my website for my free 1 hour video and free advice. Subscribe and share this video, and let us begin, shall we? All right, what do we have here for our first comment out of 3? I have never met a single woman that actively chooses bad guys. I'm very sick of seeing men say, women only date bad guys. No, women date men who start off charming and charismatic, then show themselves as absolute garbage later on. Y'all are just too blinded by your own fake, nice guy facades to understand or care how these situations happen. Stop blaming women for picking bad partners as the reason you're alone, and do some effing self-reflection. Maybe you suck. Wow, this lady is quite unhinged. Sounds pretty toxic. I'm pretty sure she's living in quite an amount of pain right now. This sounds like somebody who's suffering quite a bit. I mean, talk about a rant. All right, let's break it down. A single woman who... a lot of women want to choose the bad guy. The dangerous guy. The guy who's absolutely no good for her. But she does so anyway. Because she needs that adrenaline rush. She needs to feel alive. Which little does she actually know can feel the same thing with the nice guy. Probably even 10 times better. But the illusion of the bad guy is just so awesome, isn't it? So badass. They just have to go with the bad guy. Alright, here's my definition of a bad guy. Somebody who is high risk. That mysterious man of few words. In other words, a loser in my book. The guy who acts like he's tough. Now, he might be tough physically. He might be powerful financially. But it is a facade. And it's ironic that she even mentions this. Y'all are just too blinded by your own fake nice guy facades. The bad guys are nothing but a facade. That's why they're playing the bad guy. They're not being themselves. So this lady right here is completely clueless as to what a good guy is. How about that? Because a nice guy and a bad guy, you can have a nice guy with all the great traits of that supposed bad guy. That adventurous, charismatic, bad guy that you're looking for. A lot of strength. Maybe they have financial power too, if that's what they're seeking. Financial well-being. To each their own. But the bad guy is typically, the stereotypical biker guy. Or the guy who knows martial arts and can beat up anybody because he's big and strong. I get it. Or he doesn't take anything from anyone. That bad attitude. Lots of curse words. You name it. Everybody knows what the bad guy is. But time and time again, foolish women will fall for the bad guy illusion. Because they're going to get a really rude awakening if they choose to continue to establish a deeper and deeper relationship with the supposed bad guy. And then they're going to moan and groan and complain about it, similar to this paragraph here, by these clueless women. And they're going to pretend like they didn't see it coming. No, you were passive and dismissive about it, but you knew exactly what kind of a world you were stepping into with these supposed bad guys. And unfortunately, tons of women choose the bad guy over the nice guy. Why is that? Because they're impatient. That's the reason why. Hello. It's similar to why a lot of guys want the naughty girl, the bad girl. The baddie, as they call them still today. Yes, that's great. But don't you know that a nice girl, a nice woman, can be all the bad girl you want? They don't have to show it, announce it, like the bad guys do. Bad girls don't have to announce it. But once you get to know a nice girl or a nice guy, you'll quickly find out that there's way more to them than meets the eye. Because being a naughty person, a bad boy, a bad girl, that's all personality based. You don't need to wear the role, you need to be the role. And a lot of that stuff happens behind closed doors, in the bedroom, or on top of the laundry machine. A lot of that stuff. And not just sexually, by the way. Because the nice guy, when he needs to, will turn into that bad boy that you desire so much. And the same thing with the nice girl. She'll be naughty and straightforward when she has to, put people in their place like a real woman should, just like a real man will. So all this, these are all personality characteristics. Don't fall for the illusion of the bad guy. Because those are the loudest ones, the fools. They act like a bad guy because they're so insecure about themselves. Oh yeah, they'll have the muscles and everything to give the illusion a nice twist. But in the end, it's all just that, just an illusion, because most likely, I'd say 99% of the time, they have no idea how to carry a loving relationship with a real woman who deserves it. All that love and tenderness. And unfortunately, many women fall for the illusion of the bad guy. Time and time again, it seems to never get old. I mean, I grew up seeing all the bad guys break decent women's hearts and good women's hearts over and over again, but they seem to never learn. And then they have the audacity to say that all men are like that. All men are just abusive, controlling, all the negative stuff, which is clearly false. But, you know, these same women who are moaning, groaning, and complaining just won't give the nice guy a chance until it's too late. It's too late. We've passed the point of no return. You can't rewind the hands of time and go back and try with the nice guy. And perhaps, most likely than not, the nice guy was trying to get your attention, but you friend-zoned him. Or you just straight up ignored him because you wanted that bad boy illusion. Well, I hope you enjoy what you got, because you deserve what you get. Now let's go ahead and further break down this ridiculous comment here. Women date men who start off charming. Okay, well, that's obviously a guy who is lying just to get into your pants, use you and abuse you, and throw you away like garbage. That's elementary. That's nothing complex. Then show themselves as absolute garbage. No, your decision making is garbage. I'm not saying you deserved it, but you should have known better. Because you wanted to rush looking for that bad boy charm. Right? Now, I really highly doubt that she's never met a single woman that actively chooses bad guys. That is a straight up lie. And it's not sickening to see men say women only date bad guys, because a lot of them do. I would dare say the majority want that bad guy. That illusion of a bad guy. So this statement, all these statements are completely false, pretty much. Pretty much. She's just hurt over something. And who's blaming women for picking bad partners? It always goes both ways. Men these days and women these days are picking bad partners left and right. It's a total circus. Because they're all rushing and tripping up all over themselves and blaming each other for it. It's the women's fault. It's the men's fault. Like, grow up. Really, seriously. And self-reflection. This woman right here needs some serious self-reflection. Because your attitude sucks. All right, let's go ahead and move on, shall we? You know, just complaining online is not going to get your life any better. It's not going to do the trick. All right. Sleeping around breaks a woman. Her perception of love gets skewed. After years of chasing bad boys, feminists want a nice guy, just like what I was saying, by the way, who will put a ring on her finger and ignore her past. Even if she stops dating around, it's already impacted how her brain works. She will tell you she loves you, but what she loves is the idea of getting married having someone pay the bills while still getting to control him. Well, that's a bit drastic. She thinks love equals sex. That is a part of love. Sex is extremely important. But a woman's brain doesn't operate on a physical level like a man's does. We're both humans. I don't understand that. Women need emotional connection. What, so men don't? Something they don't get by having multiple boyfriends or men they've slept with. This turns their brain into masculine mode. What is that supposed to mean? It hardens her heart. And love isn't the same anymore. Now, she's looking for security and for someone to marry her. All right, this is just really just convoluted. What are you even trying to say? You know, this is the type of garbage that's out on social media 24/7. And I'm not joking when I say 24/7. Constant, non-stop, just absolutely ridiculous. It's so disorganized. What are you even trying to say? Let's try to break this up really quickly. Sleeping around breaks a woman. Well, it also breaks a man eventually. Because he thinks he's having fun, living a nice, crazy life. But he's not. Because in the end, whether you're a man or a woman, you're going to end up all alone. Yeah, have fun with that. And you're going to live in denial saying you're happy when you know you're not. Her perception of love gets skewed. Well, a lot of people's perception of love is skewed. Chasing bad boys. And I'm not sure why you bring up feminists. It has nothing really to do with that. You know, put a ring on her finger and ignore her past. Well, I mean, your past is important, but only to a certain extent, because it's what the present is all that matters. And, you know, going into the future, going forward in the relationship. All right, so even if she stops dating around, it's already impacted how... Why are you talking about how people's brains work? You'd have to break that up. I'm not sure where you're going with that. She will tell you she loves you, but what she loves is the idea of getting married, having some... Okay, sounds like somebody who's severely interested in using a guy. Because that doesn't sound like love. I mean, just have someone pay the bills while still getting to control him. So, a narcissist? So, I don't know who you're describing. I mean, feminists? Is that who you're describing? It's kind of a weak connection there between feminists and narcissists. Usually, feminist extremists are narcissists. That's just the way it goes. Abusive people, control freaks. She thinks love equals sex. That's a huge part of love. It's not everything, but it's at the heart, I'll tell you that much. If you're not getting hot and sweaty with your partner and enjoying it, you're not in love. You want to devour your partner every single day. You can't get enough of them. Because if your love is not on that level, then that's not love. It's not. Sex is the heart of the relationship, so I don't see what's so wrong with that. And then you keep talking about a woman's brain. This is just... You see how ridiculous this comment is, really. Something they don't get by having multiple boyfriends. All right, so body count only matters to a certain extent, depending on who she ultimately ends up with. I'm not sure why body count is so important here. And emotional connection. Men love emotional connection. That's what gets us aroused. Your personality. Not just your looks. What are we even talking about here? And masculine mode. What is that supposed to mean? So men have a hardened heart. I mean, is that what you're trying to equate masculinity with? Because that's clearly false. A real man is extremely passionate when it comes to love. And knows exactly what he wants. And has a beautiful heart underneath that strong chest. That proud chest of his. Now she's looking for security and for someone to marry her. Security. After all the bad boys. No, she's looking to have a redo of her life. And it's too little too late. It's too late. You can't go back, as I said before. So security, any relationship is supposed to feel secure. It just doesn't mean that, okay, I got married, I'm secure. It doesn't work that way. If you put a ring around it, okay, now I feel secure. No. You guys could get divorced at any time and the relationship can go into the garbage bin. You think it just, oh, okay, we got married, I feel secure. It doesn't work that way. A lot of nice guys are actually bitter and live with chips on their shoulder, making them more dangerous than the alleged bad boys. That's a crazy comment to say. I'm not sure where you're going with this already. They think women are choosing over them. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. How can nice guys be more dangerous than bad boys in terms of a toxic relationship? And yeah, in my case, I actually do like more rugged types. Yeah, but that's not all what a bad boy is. It's not always just the illusion of being rugged. It's their personalities that ultimately define them as a quote unquote bad boy. But they don't cry about being nice guys and just show up as men in their actions, are confident and maybe look scary. Okay, that's the same as rugged. But are kind, direct, and loving. I would never date someone who isn't. When you're insecure, they are people you can't, or you mean there are people you can't handle, you aren't ready. I'm not sure what you're saying by that last part. There are people you can't handle, you aren't ready, that you aren't ready for? Wow. All right, so another ridiculous comment. You really don't know where they're going with this. I have to laugh. I really do. All right, let's try to break it down really quickly here. A lot of nice guys are actually bitter. How do you know that? Maybe because you had one or two cases of a bitter nice guy? Well, then they're not real nice guys, are they? And live with chips on their shoulder. What kind of chips? And I'm not talking about Doritos or Lay's. I'm asking what kind of grudges? What are we talking about here? From bitter to chips on their shoulder. What are they so bitter about? They're not a nice guy then. They're a bitter guy with chips on their shoulders. Making them more dangerous. How does that make them more dangerous than the bad boys? Oh my goodness. And it's a fact that so many women choose the bad boy over the nice guy because they find nice guys to be boring because those women are highly immature and toxic. They don't deserve a nice guy. That's why they go for the bad boys. Someone who's just as toxic as they are. Just as immature as they are. That's the way it goes. And yeah, in my case, I actually do like more, rugged and scary. All right, let's focus on what matters most. Confidence, wow, and kindness. That's the only two good traits. All right, so a bad boy, can they be confident? Yes, clearly they are, but kind? No, not really, because that's why they get the label of bad boy. Because often they're not kind. And that's why you fall for the illusion, well, he's confident, he looks scary and rugged, that's sexy. Yeah, but later on he turns out to be a complete jerk. Maybe an abusive jerk. And then you whine and complain about it. Well, you're the one who jumped into that pool of toxicity. Nobody else pushed you into the pool, that deep end. You jumped into it because you thought it was cool. All right, loving and direct. Well, bad boys are often direct, but nice guys are extremely loving. The real nice guys. And they're bad boys when they need to be in a good way. That confidence, that scariness, authority that you're not against you in an abusive or toxic way, but against others to protect you. Right? That's a real nice guy. They know how to switch gears, go into that bad boy mode, and take care of business when necessary. That's why the nice guy always wins. They never finish last. The reason why there's an illusion of nice guys finishing last is because there's so many toxic women picking the bad boys. And then the women who are the ones who end up last. And then they deny it. They say, no, I'll just go try to look for a nice guy this time. Well, it's too late, honey. You wasted decades of your life on the bad boys who didn't teach you anything. And you didn't learn anything from those relationships. So don't cry. Don't cry an ocean. Because it's your fault. I would never date someone who isn't. Okay? When you're insecure, they are people. Okay, yeah. So how ridiculous is that comment? Nothing, no wisdom, no intelligence, just blah, 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 blah. Bad guys this, nice guys that. Okay, so I hope you guys see clearly that a nice guy has all those awesome qualities. Not all of them, obviously, because there's some nice guys who are a different type of nice. But there are plenty of nice guys who can shift gears into bad boy mode and satisfy all of those things that you're yearning for. But there's a time and place for that. You know, you can't be bad boy 24/7. It's exhausting. It's ridiculous. You're going to make fools out of yourselves. You hanging out with a bad boy who does that and the bad boy who acts. He's an actor 100%. Because no real man is going to put on the bad boy persona 24/7. That's just upright lunacy. That's just insane. Seriously. There's a lot of immature women out there who really don't think about what they say. If you made it this far, it's time now to become a free member on my website. You'll get free relationship advice and free access to my 1-hour video. Also, drop a comment with a topic that you'd like for me to go over in a future show. Much love, everybody.